Welcome to Horrors Yet Unseen, the podcast where we assign each other horror movies to watch and then talk about it so our spouses don't have to listen to us go on and on and on about scary stuff they don't like. I'm Zach.
And I'm Steve. Let's talk about some scary movies. By the way, there will absolutely be spoilers in this show. You have been warned.
Okay.
Why don't we talk about the movies that we were assigned? I think that you... Oh, is it me first this time?
Go. You can go first.
No, I went first last time, didn't I?
I don't have a clue. You could just go.
Okay. Braindead is the movie that I saw.
Yes.
As I mentioned, it's also referred to as Dead Again, depending... I didn't figure
Dead
out...
Alive.
Dead Alive, sorry. Yes, Dead Alive.
It's like you didn't even watch it.
It's directed by Peter Jackson. It's from 1992. So this is well before he started making good movies.
It really is.
I think it's one of his first ones. It's a budget of $3 million, and it had brought in $242,000 in the USA anyway. It's all I think it's all filmed in New Zealand. Anyway, it's a zombie comedy horror thing, and it started out. I really thought, okay, I'm like, this is good. I'm loving where this is going. Love the feel, the vibe of it, because it was doing the whole time. It actually does a very good job of staying funny and goofy and ridiculous. Like you like.
Yeah.
But not being too ridiculous or not trying to be too serious. You know what I mean? It balances it very well. But it starts out in Sumatra, where this guy is like trying to get a monkey to take to the zoo in New Zealand.
Yeah.
He gets scratched by the monkey. Well, the natives are trying to stop him for one. Then he gets scratched by the monkey. And they cut his arm where he was scratched, and then they see his other arm was scratched. He cuts that off, and then his forehead was scratched, so they cut his head off. And I don't know. Somehow the monkey makes it from Sumatra to New Zealand.
I'm not too sure you should call that a monkey. I don't even know what that.
It's called a rat. They called it a rat monkey, but
it was so weird.
It was like a monkey with a rat's head. It was bizarre.
It was
no hair.
Super bizarre.
Gross. Yeah, and the stop motion of it was,
oh man,
it was hilarious. There's a dude who kind of likes this girl. She likes him. There's a prophecy. Anyway, there's so much going on. Like at the beginning of it, it's like I said, it was a good setup. But this dude lives with his mom, and he's like 30, and his mom is just horrible. She's just like controlling and demanding, and making him feel like crap all the time. Well, she gets bit by the monkey, the rat monkey at the zoo. And that's kind of when things start going downhill, because she starts getting like bigger and like there's, this is the point from here on out. I don't really know what to say about the movie, because it was like, it just it's increasingly grosser and grosser. There's so much pus and fluids and goop squishing out of everything. They had to have spent at least 70% of the budget of this movie on pudding.
Oh yeah.
And food coloring for red pudding. And they had a healthy dose of white pudding for, like I said, the pus and fluids and things. And the mom dies. Basically, she becomes a zombie, and like pieces of her, like she accidentally eats her ear when she's eating some custard. Anyway, it starts spreading around. Things started happening, and what I don't understand is the dude is he's trying to have this relationship with this girl, but the guy is he starts trying to take care of these zombies. It's like has them at his house and he's feeding them dinner and putting tranquilizer in the dinner, and I don't understand what he was trying to accomplish here.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, what the heck? Do you know what was going on with that? Why was he trying to keep them away from? I don't know. So his mom accidentally turns people to zombies, and then they don't really get out at first, but I don't know. It just gets to the point where he's fighting off all these zombies, and there's near the end of the movie, there's this massive fight that's like it must had been like a half an hour long. It just ramped up, gorier and gorier and gorier, and just disgustinger and disgustinger, but somehow still being funny, sort of. I should say, still being goofy.
Yeah.
And then all the way to this dude gets his innards ripped out, like his entire all of his organs and like digestive system and everything are ripped out and thrown on the floor, and it's all practical effects stuff. Well done practical effects for the most part. But the dude's innards are on the floor, and his butthole points up and farts, and it's like a mass of intestines, and his butthole farts. Like, what the?
Yeah.
And there are ways that people are killed and dismembered and stuff in this movie that I've never imagined in my life. Just like, what in the heck? I don't know if Peter was going through a difficult time.
Yeah, it was definitely a difficult time.
And then the kind of at the end of it, the dude, the main character guy, he grabs a lawnmower and starts going back and forth through this crowd of zombies and just turning them all to just a pile of mush with some hands and legs left. And oh, by the way, this mass of innards, by the way, starts walking around and crawling around and stuff, and I just I couldn't tell at that point, like, what is going on in this movie other than let's be as gross as possible. Yeah. And then they get on the roof somehow. I forget what happened. But then the old mom, who's been getting bigger and grosser, she meets them on the roof, and she's like 20 feet tall and naked. So she's got these massive boobs. Really just the whole thing. Oh boy. She tries to kill them or something, and he jumps. Oh, she like tears her chest open, and he jumps in the chest. I gotta be honest, Zach. There was so much squelching and squishing and splattering and stuff. All these sounds, too much. I had to mute it during the fight scene because I just couldn't like handle. It's like somebody chewing right in my ear. Couldn't handle the sounds. It was too much. I had to mute it, just put the subtitles on, and watch the rest of the fight because it was so over the top, just so over the top. And when we started this podcast, I mentioned it to a friend of mine in Oklahoma, and he was like, "Oh, I've got a friend who really likes horror. I'll ask him for some recommendations." And this is the first one he recommended. He's like, "It's really gross, but it's great." And I will totally agree. It's really gross, but I don't know if it's great. It was too much. I didn't think that it could get to the point where I've never seen a movie like this, I guess, that is so gross and so over the top. Yeah, I just couldn't do it. I mean, I finished it, but I can't. I'll give it a star.
1 star.
It's more than a half because it's not. It's like the first half's great. And they do a good job of all the effects. Once again, I respect that. But it was just too much. It was just too much. Did I say it's too much? Because it was too much.
Yes.
So
I fully understand.
It's one of those. I could tell that I think one of the reasons it's cited a lot and recommended a lot is because of it's kind of one of those groundbreaking things. No, I don't think anybody had done anything this disgusting before. it's interesting because the it's not as real. It's not super realistic because instead of blood, usually, like I said, it's like red pudding, so it's kind of thick,
Hmm.
which kind of takes some of the realistic aspect away from it, which is
Right.
fine. But I was not what I expected. So, and I can't figure out why it's called Brain Dead or Dead Alive. Either one of those. I guess no, those are maybe references to the zombiness of it, but I don't know. What did you think? You've seen this, right? You saw this week
I
at
saw
some
it.
point.
I did see it this week. Yeah, I didn't write it. I didn't write it down. I did see it this week. It was difficult to digest. Um, I knew that I was in for just a completely stupid movie by the way that this movie started. Because
Right.
again, I added this movie to my October list. I was like, "Oh, it's Peter Jackson. Fine,
Yeah.
fine." My introduction to Peter Jackson was Lord of the Rings.
Same.
I did not know that Peter Jackson existed before Lord of the Rings. And there's another movie that Peter did where like some creature is flipping off the camera in
Is it Frighteners?
the poster. Did he direct The Frighteners with Michael
Yeah.
J. Fox?
Yeah, the Frighteners.
Okay, that's on my list to watch. I want to
Same.
watch.
Yeah.
I
I haven't
want to
seen it.
watch The Frighteners. I mean, look him up. Peter Jackson. He directed The Lovely Bones.
He did?
That's what it's saying. Directed by Peter
Oh,
Jackson.
wow.
Okay, so clearly I just didn't know. Bad Taste is the movie. Bad Taste.
Bad taste. Okay.
Yeah. Anywho, yeah, I didn't know what to expect.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, he gets that scratch. That guy gets a scratch on his arm or on his hand, which
Mm-hmm.
I just thought was his hand. Like, cause the cage flips upside down or whatever, and he
Mm-hmm.
gets the scratch on his hand. Fine, whatever. So they cut off his hand. Cool,
Yeah.
cool effect.
That was
Then they're
very good
like,
effect.
oh, he got a scratch on his arm, but they cut his whole arm off,
Yeah, the other
like at
arm.
the shoulder, at the
Yeah.
shoulder,
Yeah, that's
and then like the camera clearly doesn't show his head being crushed because the camera is his head,
Yep.
and so yeah, or not crushed, sliced off,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean that was cool effects. It was cool effects. This movie was definitely quirky in the beginning.
Yeah.
It was definitely quirky in the beginning. I mean, there's this girl who her grandma or her mother or whatever is reading tarot cards
Mm-hmm.
in order
Yep.
to determine whether she's going to find love. And yeah, I mean, it was quirky in the beginning.
Yep.
And the mom was definitely like as soon as the mom got bit at the zoo, I was like, my first reaction was, "Why are you at the zoo? This is supposed to be a date between your son and this girl. What are you doing? You're an overly needy mom. Get the
Oh
heck out
yeah.
of here!" Right? Because I don't think there's any mention of him inviting his mom to this date.
No.
Um,
She just doesn't like him. She doesn't like the girl.
right. And so, yeah, but up to that point, everything was kind of fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, once they had the scene after that where she's in bed and she's kind of, I don't want to say convulsing, but she's kind of transforming. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. That's when the movie just hits the nos and is going just balls to the wall with every single bad idea. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
call it like I said. Just as
Over the top.
ridiculous as you possibly could be. Let's just throw everything. All of
Yeah.
the ideas are yes, and let's do more cocaine to get more ideas. Like it's so much. Yeah,
I forgot to mention the freaking baby. Dude, the zombie baby, ugliest,
yeah.
creepiest, most disgusting, unsettling thing
Uh-huh.
ever.
Yeah.
And he takes it to the. Why does he go to the park with the baby in the stroller? What? Why is he doing that?
I think if you're asking why we're officially overthinking it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then it like jumps inside this gal's head, and like tears her face apart and comes out the. Oh boy.
It
And
very much reminded me of like a low, like it's low budget.
yeah,
I don't know. I just
the part that I did like, I thought was amazing, was around halfway through the film, the mom is dead and they have her funeral.
right.
And the priest afterwards starts getting in a fight with these zombies that are out front and
As you
outside the
do.
church, as you do.
As you do.
And he's
every
like,
Sunday. Gosh, every Sunday these freaking zombies, dude.
and he's like kicking their butt, and he stops and he goes, "I kick ass for the Lord."
Yeah. Best line in the movie.
I laughed so hard. That was great. And
Yeah.
then he gets killed, of course, but
Well, as you do every Sunday.
yeah. So interesting. Like I said, interesting kills. Lots of pudding. I kind of don't want to have pudding ever again.
Yeah.
But
I don't know that I rated this one on Letterboxd. I didn't even mark it down. So I'm going to give it 1 star. Like that's as far as I got. This is not great. It's not I don't think that this is okay. I don't think that this is a smoking hot turd, but it's real close.
it's close.
It's so a half a star for me is I don't want to rate this, but I have to because IMDb doesn't allow me to say 0 stars.
Right.
Which again, no, not IMDb, Letterboxd. If you're listening, and I know that you are, freaking change your system because there should be a 0 star option. I don't like this movie. Should be an option, not a half a star. A half a star is too much for some of these turds.
Here's what I don't understand, Zach.
What?
89% tomatoes, 86% audience score. Okay. And then IMDb 7.5 out of 10. What the heck?
Yeah.
87% of Google users liked this movie.
You could say that the Rotten Tomatoes critic score, those people are paid off.
Yeah.
We'll just say that. Audience score is very interesting. I don't know enough about their system to give it credibility because I've heard not so great things about Rotten Tomatoes and their scoring for both critics and audience.
Right.
But yeah, I didn't realize like how much people love this movie, how much people like it at least.
I don't understand.
Because it's only a 3.9 on Letterboxd.
3.9 is pretty good.
I think that the 3.9 is a pretty good rating. It's a pretty generous rating for this.
Well, boy, I'm glad I watched it. I've been wanting to watch it. I'll have to report back to Gary in Oklahoma. But wow.
26,000 4-star reviews on this movie. 16,000 5-star reviews.
Now,
I want to talk to those people.
I do think that it could be better if this was a movie you watched at a party with friends.
Okay, if you're under the influence, maybe if you had a couple beers.
Well, that would help too. But I mean, if you were just hanging out with friends and you could like make fun of stuff and there's kind of a different vibe.
If you could MST3K this movie, yes,
exactly.
If you were with some friends that could MST3K this movie, and you also had some mushrooms, this movie would probably be fantastic.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
And I mean mushrooms on a pizza, not mushrooms as in psilocybin, but also
that's
psilocybin.
Clear. That's clear. Yeah, nobody thought of anything else.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I kind of did. It
wasn't terrible.
No, it was just too much.
It was a lot. There was a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, and I was looking at this information about it, and there are countries, some countries just ban the movie right out, and there were lots, and then some movies like it's 104 minutes long, but like they cut 10 minutes out of it for the German release, some of the most gross parts. In the UK, they actually considered making it like a 15-year-old movie instead of an 18-year-old movie because they thought the gore was so jokey and goofy that it wasn't scary. But they went ahead and released it as a must be 18 to watch it movie.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, Zach, tell me about the movie you watched, which was
Steve, it was Pet Cemetery.
Pet Sematary, the OG.
The OG.
Okay.
Steve, I have some gripes about this movie.
Do you?
I have 6 specific gripes.
6 gripes. Hit me.
And we're going to talk with them. We're going to talk about them. I'm going to do a movie breakdown before I get to the gripes.
Do it.
So, here we go. Steve, you assigned me the movie Pet Cemetery from 1989. Like I said, I was going to watch maybe in the last episode, I said I was going to maybe waft between the two because I didn't get a good vibe the first time I watched or started to watch the original Pet Cemetery. Mm-hmm. I did make it all the way through and found it that I didn't need to watch the 2019 version because I kind of basically I got it.
Okay.
I will maybe at one point watch the 2019 version just to see if they did a better job. Mm-hmm. But my guess is because it is a remake and the plot is virtually identical, they did not change any of the gripes that I have with this movie. Okay. I'm going to assume that, and I'm going to call it an assumption. I am assuming that, and I understand that I know what assumptions do. So it may be a good movie. The audience does not think so. The audience thinks that the 2019 version of this movie is worse.
Yeah, that's just because they're comparing it with the first one.
Yes, they shouldn't because that movie's trash. Anyway, let's get into it. 55% Rotten Tomatoes score, 60% audience score, 3.2 out of 5 on Letterboxd, 6.5 out of 10 on IMDb. The IMDb synopsis says, after tragedy strikes, a grieving father discovers an ancient burial ground behind his home with the power to raise the dead. That is exactly what this movie is. Okay? That's exactly what this movie is. But the worst version of that. It's the worst version of that. Okay, let's do a movie breakdown. Dr. Lewis Creed and his wife Rachel move into a house on a very busy street. And very busy is an understatement. It's a freaking hellish nightmare.
It's like a highway.
This is the freaking highway to hell, dude. It's wild. Their daughter discovers a trail, and the neighbor says it leads to a pet cemetery. They decide like idiots to take a tour of it with the neighbor that they just met. Unfortunately, that's basically the end of the plot for the pet cemetery because it's a front for an actual Native American burial ground behind it that is cursed. So when I said that IMDb got it right, that's the truth. This movie should not be called Pet Cemetery. It should be called Ancient Native American Burial Ground. And the stupid white people who decide to do stuff on it. That's what this movie should be called. Okay?
Yeah.
And I understand that title is too long, but that's the title of this book. That's the title of the movie. I'm talking to Stephen King. If you're listening, and I know that you are, that should be the title. I need you to change it. One day, a college kid gets hit by one of the trucks on the road, and instead of leaving the scene for the first responders, idiot college kids decide to take action themselves because, after all, they are our future. With half of his skull missing, the kids decide to pick him up off the street, place him on a sheet, and carry him in to see Dr. Creed. The man, with his open brain exposed, musters out some last words, and then dies. You know, like a normal person who just got hit by a semi-truck and has half their freaking skull missing. Unreal that this is a real thing in this movie. Anyway, that man then in ghost form comes to visit Lewis at night. Lewis follows him to the pet cemetery, and the ghost tells him not to go beyond the cemetery because the land is sour. But Lewis is not only a doctor, but he's also a white guy in a horror movie. So you know that he's not gonna listen to the apparition or what the apparition tells him to do. He's gonna do something else because that wouldn't make a good horror movie. Now would it?
Right. Yeah.
So now I'm gonna do a bit of jumping around here. The family has a cat. That cat, like all cats, should die. It does die. Cats are garbage.
Wow, that's
strong stance. I'm taking a strong stance. I'm anti-cat.
Okay.
I'm anti-cat. They're terrible. They're terrible. Anyway, I derailed myself. The family has a cat. That cat dies. Dad and the neighbor bury that cat in the sour land, despite the fact that the ghost said don't go there. The neighbor doesn't reveal everything. By the way, the neighbor is the guy who's like, hey, you should take your cat and come with me, and I'm going to introduce you to this thing, right?
Yeah.
The cat returns and is basically a zombie cat and isn't the same playful cat it once was. The neighbor then reveals the truth behind the land because the neighbor didn't tell Lewis the truth.
Mm-hmm.
The dad doesn't immediately kill the cat because he's an idiot. So he finds the truth out, which is, hey, back in like 1922, I think that's the actual year. Like back in 1922, I had a cat, or I had a dog named Spot. Spot died. I buried it this guy told me to come with him. We're going to bury the dog on this plot of land. The dog returned as a zombie dog. I had to basically kill my dog and then buried it or wait until it died or whatever. And then I buried it in the pet cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the neighbor finally tells Lewis. At that moment, Lewis should get up, take a shovel, smack the cat over the head, and be done with it. That's what he should do. Because that's what anybody should do to just cats in general. Again, hard stance against cats. I'm just kidding. Don't hit a cat with a shovel. That'd be terrible. But that's what should happen in this movie. It's a freaking zombie cat, dude.
Yeah.
But he doesn't because he's an idiot. Because Lewis and Rachel are great parents, they let their 3-year-old play by the heavily trafficked road. Their 3-year-old child gets run over by a semi. Horrific. They don't show it. They showed the bloody shoe flying off, and you're immediately like, So anyway, the dad goes insane and buries his son in the sour ground.
Yeah, sour ground.
Yeah. The boy comes back to life and kills Herman Munster and the mom. The dad finally kills the cat. And has to kill his own toddler son, which is, again, horrifying. The dad still doesn't learn his lesson and buries the mom on the sour ground. The mom comes back and kills the dad at the end of the movie. That's the freaking movie, dude. That's the movie. That's the movie that you assigned me.
Yeah.
I have a couple gripes about this movie. I don't know if you can pinpoint what they might be. Okay. First off, I wrote under notes and observations, this is some of the stupidest writing I've ever seen. Okay.
Okay.
That's what I wrote down. Like at some point in the movie, I opened up my iPad and typed out, "This is some of the I don't know when it was, but yeah. Anyway, I need some help understanding some things. I'm gonna use you as the pet cemetery, as my pet cemetery guide.
Okay.
Okay, my tour guide through pet
Tour
cemetery.
guide.
Okay?
I'm here for it.
I need some help. The road that they live on. This is gripe number one.
Mm-hmm.
The road that they live on is a busy road. Semis and some heavy trucks go up and down this road all day and all night.
Right.
There is no stop sign or traffic light in sight. I did not see one. Yet hundreds of animals have died on the road due to these trucks, and no one has put up a fence to protect their animals. Steve, explain.
There's too much space. Like, what kind of animals have died? Like cats and dogs and stuff.
Basically.
Okay, so I grew up on a road out in the country, and the speed limit was like 45.
Okay.
And sometimes big trucks and stuff, lots of farm trucks and things went by. And we've had a lot of cats and dogs die on that road. But even though there was a fence, but there was not a gate on the driveway. So, I mean, stuff happens, you know?
Okay.
I don't know. You asked, so.
I understand. That's logical, but I slightly disagree with it. I have feelings about it, and I don't know why. Even though it makes logical sense to me. Anyway, gripe number 2. A human at the school, not an animal, a human at the school gets hit by one of the trucks, and the students carry him inside to be taken care of by the doctor. Yet, a third of his skull is missing and his brain is exposed. Why isn't the city doing something about the speed of these trucks on the road and providing adequate crosswalks for the people so they don't get hit? Explain. Also, I read that so fast that I'm sure Miles at 3 times speed did not hear what I just said. Slow down, Miles, and hear what I'm saying.
I'm going to say bad civic planning. We should bring Noah into this one.
We definitely should. This is definitely a Noah question. I thought of him when I was writing it. Yeah, because he's watching city planning videos on YouTube.
Well, I mean, it's far enough out of the city, it sounds like, that it's...
No, he got hit at the school. At the school.
Oh, at the school.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
So not in the country where they live, like in the city, one of these semis hit a kid to the point that a third of his skull is off.
Okay, I see what you're saying with it doesn't seem realistic, but we're dealing with a movie where people are buried in and come back to life.
Don't do this to me, Steve. I'm trying to make this movie logical. And I need logical answers to an illogical movie.
All I will say is that there are many places in the world where there are not enough fences and not enough speed limit signs and lights and stuff, and people die. You should just be grateful that these people had an option to come back to life as evil people.
I don't like that answer at all. Okay.
What's your next gripe?
You're being a terrible guide through Pet Cemetery. Okay. Gripe number 3. The dead man comes to visit the Dr. Lewis that night, the night that he dies, and tells him not to cross to that side of the cemetery or bad things will happen. How does he know about that side of the cemetery when he is a complete stranger to the doc and his family? Explain.
How does he what?
How does he know to warn Doc, the doctor, and his wife about, quote unquote, that side of the cemetery? How does he know? He just died. How does he know?
Because when you're dead, you have special knowledge of what's up.
That's lame. That's lame. I don't like that. I don't like that. That's a good answer. I don't like that because are you just omniscient at that point? Like, do you just know all things?
ghosts chat. You know, the like there's like a ghost up there of like the dude who died, and it's like, hey buddy, don't go over there. And
Now, technically, I did write that question down before the actual explanation in the movie is told to me, because the explanation is I was
it's in the
sent
movie?
here to tell you.
There you go, man.
Okay.
He was sent.
I don't like it. It doesn't. It seems stupid to me. Gripe number 4. Herman Munster takes Lewis to the other side of the cemetery. He is Herman Munster, dude. That guy is Herman Munster for the rest of his for the rest of ever. Also, he talks like this. See, yeah, let's go to the other side of the fence. Other side of the cemetery. Yeah, I'm Herman Munster. Yeah, like it's so stupid.
It's a Maine accent, you know.
It's a Maine accent. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I expect when I go to Maine, I expect people to talk like 1940s, like newspaper.
Well, see, there's a law in the 1940s where all newspaper people had to be from Maine. So, I mean, that's what it's called. Yeah, that's what happens.
I'm going to fact check that. I don't think that's real. I think that's about as real as the A24 picture that I sent you. Okay, Herman Munster takes the doctor to the other side of the cemetery, knowing full well that Spot was never the same after he came back, and knowing that Church, the cat, wouldn't be the same. Why does Herman Munster have to be an idiot and ruin another family's life? Explain.
I think he's just being a jerk. I don't know. I don't know. That's why I can't answer that one, because that's the dumbest thing. It's like, I had a situation where my dog came back evil and tried to kill me. So let's do the same with your cat.
Right. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Dude, you're being a jerk.
His explanation in the movie is, I didn't want your daughter to be sad.
Oh, come on.
And my thought is, screw that little girl. She's having wicked dreams and is crying a ton. Okay?
Well, I mean, and the dude...
she'll get over a stupid cat.
Saying I don't want this girl to be sad, so I'm going to guide you toward a demon possession of a cat or whatever. That's something like that a teenager would say, because idealism or whatever. But this guy's like 65 or something like that. He has seen pain. He knows by this point that people need to experience pain. Yeah, and he's just being a dumbass. Sorry.
Well, he takes. That's true. He takes them to the cemetery in the beginning of the movie to teach that daughter about death.
Yep.
So I'm like, the point of you taking her to the cemetery is like, hey, death happens. And when the parents kind of kick back against that a little bit, he's like, everyone dies. She's going to find out anyway.
Yeah.
But then when her cat dies, he's like, I don't want her to feel sad about this. So I'm going to take you beyond the pet cemetery to a Native American burial ground that should not be disturbed to bury a cat, despite the fact that I know my personal experience with this.
Because it's not going to go well.
It like that side of the story doesn't make, because everything hinges on that. The entire plot of this movie hinges on that other cemetery. And I get, for storytelling purposes, I'm more just being tongue-in-cheek at this point. Like, I get, for storytelling purposes, you have to advance, you have to keep moving. But that particular premise doesn't make sense. It feels like you could, and maybe 2019 maybe took care of this, like that particular plot point.
I have to watch it again. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, anyway, and I don't know. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Again, I'm being tongue-in-cheek with these gripes because this movie is ridiculous, and why not be ridiculous with it? Gripe number 5. I'm almost done. I know that we've been talking way too long about this. I got 6 gripes total. Okay, we're on 5. Also, just listen to the podcast at 3 times speed. You'd be done by now.
There you go.
The dead guy doesn't show himself to Doc again. He doesn't show himself to Dr. Lewis after that night. Doesn't show himself to Dr. Lewis to stop him from digging up his dead son. Instead, he helps the mom get back from her trip from Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Explain.
I think he
Wouldn't
wants
it have been better to go to doctor? Because instead he's like, oh well. At one point, he holds a door open to the terminal for the plane.
the dead guy?
As the ghost, yeah. As the woman is trying to close the door. So he's the one stopping it to try to help her get on the plane. And I'm like, go be with Lewis and tell him to not force him to not dig up his son. Stop helping the mom get back from Chicago. You're wasting your ghost powers.
Yeah. I
It
mean,
doesn't make sense.
Maybe he only had a one-way flight.
I had
I
so
don't know,
many
Zach.
thoughts run through my head at that moment, I couldn't speak.
I don't know, Zach. I mean, ghosts are going to do what a ghost are going to do. He wanted the family back together because maybe the ghost isn't completely good.
But he's being helpful.
Is he?
He might, at this point, he's being nefarious because
Yeah, I don't know.
he's helping the mom get back and she's going to die.
Yeah.
Anyway.
See, the way it's set up is like he's getting her back to stop him from doing something dumb.
Yeah, but he could go do that.
Right. Wasn't he? Yeah, I don't know.
He could save the mom's life by preventing her from coming back to Chicago and go be with the dad so that he doesn't dig up his son. He could do that instead.
Yeah.
He could actually be helpful, but instead he's being a freaking Herman Munster about it and he's being dumb. And then he gets her a semi-truck ride. And then when she gets out of the semi, he's like, this is as far as I can go.
Yeah.
What do you mean, dude? You're a freaking ghost, bro. This is as far as I can go? Dumb ghost. Anyway, gripe number 6. Why did he have to burn down that entire house? Couldn't he have just grabbed Gabe and ran outside and burnt Gabe's body? Such a beautiful... He burnt the whole house. Like, it's such an overreaction.
He's mad, dude.
If by mad you mean insane, yeah. Gosh. That one made me the most upset. Because, like, by that point, it's not like Gabe's still alive. He stabs him in the neck with that, like, tranquilizer or whatever. Or, I don't know, the way that they put dogs to sleep. I don't have a clue what the heck, because he's a doctor. I don't have a clue. I don't know what he is. He's a doctor of some sort. I don't know. Yeah, he's just a doctor, regular, standard doctor. But he has a syringe in a medical bag because, he's got a medical bag. Because they live in that era, apparently. And, yeah. And he sticks Gabe in the neck with that needle, which, was that a practical effect? Did they really stab a toddler in the neck with a needle? That was wild.
Oh.
That had better not have been a practical effect.
Like, it's one of those, like, the needle goes back into the syringe.
Well, the look on the actor's face, the look on that toddler's face when he was getting stabbed in the neck, I was like, dude, is he really getting stabbed in the neck right now?
So that's one thing. So that's an aspect of this movie that disturbed me. Is
the child actor part?
The child actor part, because that kid is freaking scary.
Yeah.
I gotta say. He has a look on his face, and he's like, whenever there's a kid in a horror movie, I think, I think I've mentioned this before, but like, I'm like, how much therapy does this kid need afterwards, right?
Uh-huh.
And how did they get this kid to do that? Because he's literally a toddler.
Yeah.
And how did they get him to have that evil look and the reactions that he has, and like, and then he cuts the guy's Achilles.
Oh, that was tough, dude. Oh, that was tough. Yeah. As soon as I saw it exposed, as soon as I saw Herman Munster on all fours, and then like his exposed Achilles, I was like, I can't watch this. And I literally put my hand over the screen.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, nope, can't watch it. The same with the eye thing in The Boys, see episode 4.
Yes.
I had to put my hand over the screen. I was like, nope, I can't watch it. It's too gross. Yeah. So I just didn't understand because Gabe runs off. I think it's Gabe, isn't it?
I
I've been
think so.
saying
Yeah, the
Gabe
kid.
enough
Yeah.
that I don't know now if that's right. Um,
By the way, I think that the Pet Cemetery was the first movie where they showed where they had that trope of the cutting the Achilles. That was Pet Cemetery for the first time.
ugh, dude, it's gross.
In of the dog does the dog die.com. That's one of the triggers that you can check off is Achilles tendon being cut,
Yeah,
and they don't have religious trauma. What's the deal?
yeah, but it didn't make any sense.
No,
So he stabs, he tranks the kid. The kid
right?
runs off down the hall, falls over, and dies basically.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, you go, all right, I'm going to pick up my kid, take him outside because he's a zombie, take him outside, and light him on fire. Now, I understand what I just said
As you
is
do.
incredibly difficult. Okay, I get it, but you're not burning. You're not like, oh, the whole house has got to go.
Yeah.
The house is fine. It's not haunted. Like, grab the cat, grab your dead zombie son, and take them outside of the fire pit and light them on fire. And be done. Right? And then go across the street to Herman Munster's house or wherever and get your wife and like just mourn the loss. Right? But he doesn't. He doesn't learn his lesson. And that could be my seventh gripe is like his logic is I buried my son days after he was dead. My wife just died. So maybe it'll be fine.
Maybe.
Nope. He dies in the end because his wife freaking stabs him in the neck. Okay. With an actual
Yep.
knife. He's like,
Doesn't learn his
making
lesson.
out with his wife as like part of her eye is gooping out. He's making out with her. She is a
Yeah, that's
full
gross.
zombie.
That is gross.
And she
Yeah.
grabs the kitchen knife while they're making out and stabs him. And the screen goes black and you hear him scream. And that's the end of the movie. And I was like, I literally sat for a second as the credits were rolling and just went, this is so stupid. Like,
I think if I remember correctly, I think that the end of the 2019 version or 2009 version, was it 19?
did I say? I keep saying 19. It might be 2009.
Whatever it is. I think that the end of that one, the wife, the zombie wife, drags the husband to the like kind of it ends with him being drugged to the pet cemetery and as if she's going to bury him as well.
See, that would be scarier.
Yeah.
Like that would be scarier. Yeah, I don't know.
And it's one of these. It's one of these movies that I thought it was a pretty good adaptation, but I mean, a pretty good movie. I mean, because I haven't read the book, but people who have read the book say things like that it's one of the best adaptations, or like the book is just way scarier. So I wonder what was changed.
Yeah,
and what was. I mean, there's stupid stuff in it for sure. But
yeah,
there's some legitimately creepy parts to it as well.
yeah. This movie was that fight at the son's funeral. So there is this crazy tension that you slightly get a glimpse of. So it's Thanksgiving, and the family is going to go off to spend time with mom and dad.
Right.
Rachel's mom and dad. I think her name is Rachel. And I'm looking at the thing right now. What is her name? Is it Rachel? Yeah, Rachel Creed. They're going to go spend time with Rachel's parents. Lewis does not want to do that because Lewis says your dad is never going to accept me as a part of the family. That's really the first time that you kind of get, okay, there's this family tension that's kind of there. But that comes to a head at, is it Gabe? Is that what his name is? What's the little boy's name?
I think it's good.
Gage. It's Gage. I keep saying
Gage.
Gabe. Gage. I keep saying Gabe.
Gage is a dumb name.
Gage. So at Gage's funeral, Grandpa punches Dad in the face and calls him like a little S word, like upsetting the casket. Like, it's this wild scene, and I was like, for that, I gave the movie higher stars because I was like, oh dang, there's some real stuff going on in this movie. But then, like, in one of the next scenes, Grandpa was like, hey, I kind of lost my temper at the funeral, and I'm really sorry about that. So let's shake hands like men, and everything will be fine. And I'm like, no, that's not it. You punched me at my son's funeral in a moment of incredible weakness. Right. You're a complete butthole for the rest of my life. I'll never forgive you.
Butthole.
Well, I'm not going to say the other word, even though that's what he is. Like, that's it. Because that's such, you lost your freaking mind.
Yeah.
And you, in the middle of us mourning. Also, it wasn't entirely my fault. I mean, technically it was because I'm the parent, and we clearly have a habit of just not watching our toddler son as he runs around towards a road that is heavily trafficked, and Judd is the only one who ever pays attention to Gage. The first time Gage almost gets hit, Judd picks him up before he gets hit, and the second time, Judd is like, hey, watch out for your son.
Is that why Gage kills Judd?
Judd didn't deserve to die at the end of the day. I think, technically he did because he started the whole thing. But
and that's one thing I noticed as well. Like you said that the dad didn't learn his lesson, but neither did Judd.
Judd never learned, yeah.
And is there something about that place that like draws people to it?
I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to give it 2 stars. That's it. I'm going to give this movie 2 stars. I don't know. Maybe I couldn't turn off my logical brain. What was weird is that I could completely turn off my entire brain for Dead Alive.
Right.
But this movie, once that like earworm crawled up and I couldn't suspend disbelief, for the rest of the movie, I couldn't do it. For the rest of the movie. It didn't make all of those things that I called gripes were points in the movie that even though I'm joking, were points in the movie that didn't make any sense. You know, sure, gripe number 1 about all of the cats dying and putting up fences. That's just a silly gripe. But like, when the kids picked up that dude who got hit by the semi and put him on a sheet and carried him in, I'm like, why not where are the police officers in this movie?
Yeah.
Does this town not have police officers?
Defund the police.
Freaking YOLO. No, stop. We can't do that. We can't say that. We can't go there, Steve. We can't defund the police. We need the police. Like, the police just need to be better. But in this movie, they're completely absent. They don't exist. Anyway, I'm rambling at this point.
It is interesting to see. I mean, I do the same thing too. Sometimes I get too in my head about like, is this logically good? How did this happen? What's the logistics of things and timeline and all that?
Yeah.
And so sometimes I have that part of my brain on for the wrong kind of movie. But sometimes if I can turn my brain off, then sometimes I end up liking movies that everybody else thinks is stupid because I don't know. It's one of those, when you watch a movie, your mindset, the situation, the weather outside, whether or not you got acid reflux at the moment.
Yeah.
all this stuff kind of adds up to how you view it, I think.
Yeah. I'm also not superstitious. I am a little stitious though.
Yeah.
Which is another Office reference. It's my favorite quote. It's my favorite quote from anything. I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious.
I'm a little stitious, yeah.
It's so dumb. I'm not superstitious about pet cemeteries. I think it's odd. So there's a trail in my town.
Mm-hmm.
They just recently expanded the trail like all the way basically all the way through the town. But the original part of the trail that kind of goes through the college goes in between one of the practice soccer fields and a neighborhood. So it's along the fence there.
Like a walking bike trail type thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And last year when I was walking through or walking on that trail in that particular section, I walked by a house that actually had a pet cemetery in their backyard.
Hmm.
And I thought it was just odd because they have these like markers and spaced out graves for, and I'm like, and it's so many. It's too many for one person to have this many pets, let alone this many pets that have died.
Mm.
And also, I'm going to be honest with you. Maybe I am superstitious. If Casey and I were getting ready to buy a house, and our real estate agent showed us a house that had a freaking pet cemetery in the backyard, there is not a chance in any reality, fiction or nonfiction, that I would immediately turn around. My dream home. It could be my dream home. Turn around. I'm getting in the car without warning. Nope. I'm turning around. I'm walking out. We could go through the whole house and it could check all the boxes. And we get to the backyard and I see 7 stick crosses in the backyard that's a pet cemetery. Turn around. Nope. Show us another property. Also, we're picking another real estate agent. I'm not doing this. So maybe I am superstitious. I don't know. It just seems, and I don't know how. I took a picture of it a long time ago. I can't find, but there is. Brad should know where it is because it's literally in Brad's neighborhood. So, Brad, if you're listening to this, I don't know if you are because you don't listen to podcasts for whatever reason. I don't understand, Brad. I love you, but your 2 friends have a podcast. I don't think you listen, and that's playfully hurtful. And anyway, it's in Brad's neighborhood. So Brad lives behind a pet cemetery, and yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. It was weird when I ran into it because there's like 10 graves. So our pet cemetery is real. All of this to say, I don't buy into the lore, except for if a real estate agent were to show us a house. I don't buy into the lore that these are necessarily scary.
Mm-hmm.
So this idea that, the pet cemetery is this bad place it's not a premise that I find terrifying.
Well, there is a pet cemetery about there's a pet cemetery like 3 miles from my house.
So like a real cemetery, but for pets?
Yeah.
So in other words, there is
Precious Memories Pet Cemetery and Crematory.
So there's a structure, a business where you take your dead animal and you pay them and you get to pick out a casket?
I don't know. They've got burial services. They've got
do they have funeral arrangements?
They have curbside service.
Oh my gosh.
I sent you the website.
Steve.
Burials.
Steve, this is bad. You need to get out of there as quickly as you can.
If you have a small dog, they will do a burial for $800.
$800 to no, dude.
Or you can cremate.
I'm gonna go down to Harbor Freight. I'm gonna buy a $20 shovel.
If you have a cow,
oh my gosh,
it's $2,000 to bury a cow.
Oh no, dude.
No. There's no requirement for pets to be buried in a casket or coffin in our cemetery. However, we do offer several options of caskets for those who wish their pet to be buried in one.
Steve,
this is amazing.
If
caskets
for Christmas,
there are pet caskets, dude.
If for Christmas you send to my house a pet casket,
this is amazing.
the end of our friendship.
Oh, dude. Well, you're in luck because I'm not spending $300 on a pet casket.
That's slightly hurtful that you wouldn't spend that amount of money
There
on
are
me.
biodegradable ones, though.
Oh, well, at least we're being earth conscious as we're
There's
being
one in the shape
completely
of fish.
insane
If you
by
want to put
burying our
your
animals.
goldfish in a casket and bury it at the pet cemetery. Wow,
Can you, Steve, can you imagine? Like, I can't even right now. I can't.
dude.
Because all of the things that I would have to all of the things I would have to say would bring shame to people who would do this. Because I understand loving your pet. I get it. But I don't think nothing would cross my mind to be like, oh, I need to go down to Precious Memories Pet Cemetery and talk to Jeff down at Precious Memories and make arrangements for Fluffy, my pet cow.
Well, I have some bad news for you.
Jeff doesn't work
In
there.
not too far from where you are,
No, that's not real. Don't do it.
there's Woodside Pet Cemetery,
No.
Butterbridge Pet Cemetery, Eternal Pause Pet Cremation and Memorial,
Oh, no.
Pause a While,
No,
PAWS,
dude.
Pause a
No.
While Pet Memorial Park.
I have to go to these. I have to go. I have to visit now. Yeah, I wish that you
Oh,
would have never said that.
there are a lot of them in near, west of you. That's so great, man. That's funny.
Okay. Well, I think we should do maybe a live episode. I think we should do a live episode from a pet cemetery. I'm going to throw that out there now. I think you should go to your live pet. I think you should go to your pet cemetery. I'm going to pick one near me, bring my laptop and maybe a hotspot, and then we can do a live episode from the outdoors maybe we could do it at midnight at a pet cemetery. Ooh, Halloween episode.
Here's why I'll send you the link to this one. Pause and remember.
No, dude.
This
Pause
is
and
not far
remember.
from.
Pauseandremember.com.
Uh,
High quality urn selections, meaningful memorial items, grief
Shop pet
support
urns.
tools, dignified pet cremations. What is it? You're burning? Oh my gosh.
They have a pet keychain urn. You can take a little bit of Fluffy with you on your keychain.
Dude, in the pictures of
Uh,
urns, there's a black urn with a paw print on it that says Thanos.
no. There's one here that says Sasha Ebony. Oh, that's fun. Thanos. That's hilarious. Oh, I see
And
it.
at the bottom of the website, there is the Pet Loss Professionals Alliance, the Cremation Association of North America, the International Cemetery Cremation and Funeral Association, and the International Association of Pet Cemeteries and Crematoriums.
Dude, you can get a necklace. What in the world?
Dude, the International Association of Pet Cemeteries and Crematories, their quote is the recognized leader in pet aftercare. Steve, we've kicked open a whole can of
I
worms
know
with
this
this
is.
one.
I kind of don't care that the podcast is going really long at this point because
I don't care. People have to know about this.
they have an entire line of jewelry that they will like press some of the ashes into the metal or something, like charms and stuff. Take a little piece of your pet with you everywhere. Wow, dude.
Okay. You can
Um,
join the International Association of Pet Cemeteries and Crematories.
wow. Pause and remember. That's there's a whole franchise thing. Like from Iowa all the way over to Boston, there's like 11 of these places. Wow.
This is the stupidest thing we've ever done. This is the stupidest part of this podcast. For a regular,
This is hard hitting, and this is serious stuff.
I can't anymore. I can't do it. This is too loony. But this is going to be the rest of my night of me looking up pet cemeteries near me and
You
planning a
totally.
visit. I have to plan a visit. Bonus
I want
content
to.
is coming up your
I want
way.
to
We're
hear.
going to, Steve and I are going to go interview pet
Well,
undertakers.
I'm not sure which route you take to work, but the pause a while Memorial Park looks like it's on your way.
It's too much. I had to
Oh,
wipe tears
okay,
out of my
okay.
eyes. I was laughing
Oh, this
so
is
hard.
funny. One more. I'll send you this link, and then we can move on. Pause a while.
Dude, pause a while. All right, I have to find out if it's on my way to work.
There's a canine memorial. Oh my word.
What did you just say?
There's a video of like a pet funeral.
No. See, I understand if you're a service animal. That looks like it's a service animal.
That's a service animal.
Or not is it not a service animal?
It's a canine.
If you're like a police dog. Like that makes sense. Okay, let's go to Google. View on a larger map. Okay, it's not technically on my way to work, but it is north of me, and I could go out of my way to go to this.
Well, they're not really showing a whole lot of the like graves and stuff. Their menu says home, grooming, therapy, and contact.
I know.
So
it's a one-stop shop.
Right.
It's a one-stop shop. You need a therapy dog, come here. You need to bury your dog, come here. You need to groom your dog, come here.
They got 5-star review, Fortune reviews on Google. Caitlin says, I've been using them for all my pets since 2009. I'm so blessed to have such wonderful people to help with the end of life process. So, I mean, I get it.
Now, is contact like pet mediums? I just had to be joking about it. I know that it's just contact us, but boy. It says grooming, which I'm assuming is pet grooming, therapy, which I'm assuming is you have an injury and you need a therapy animal, and then contact, which I just made the natural leap to pet medium. And if pet medium is not a job, if that's not a job, Steve, we need to have a guest on this podcast, and it needs to be a pet medium.
Oh, this Butterbridge Farms has
Dude, Butterbridge, we have some of their bologna downstairs.
Are you serious?
I'm just kidding. Because Butterbridge Farms sounds like they make trail bologna.
Butterbridge Farms Pet Cemetery. They have obituaries. You can pre-plan. Oh, those cute little caskets. Okay, I gotta stop.
Yes, we're going down an incredible rabbit hole right now.
Oh boy,
Steve, we should pick each other's movies and end this podcast. Please, thank you for listening. If you made it this far,
take me off this crazy train.
Thank you for listening. That was wild. Also, if you have any information about pet cemeteries, please contact us at 216-202-5595 because we need to hear from you. Also, if you are a pet mortician, please contact us. We need horrorsyetonunseen@gmail.com.
Or pet medium.
Or it's too much. Oh, Steve. This is the best. Okay. Here we go.
Communicate with the pet. Okay. I'm going to look for pet mediums later because there are literally a bunch of them in Colorado. Communicate with the past pet.
No, dude.
Yeah. PsychicSource.com. Oh, my word. Okay. Take a breath. Next movies for next time, Zach.
Movies for next time.
Go ahead. You pick first.
I need to gather myself. Okay. I'm going to open up the spin wheel.
Is this the last summer themed one we're doing?
This is technically the last one. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll continue the battle royale on Instagram.
Okay.
But this will be the last the last go of it. And so yeah, here we go. I'm gonna spin the wheel. All right, Steve. Your movie this week is The Lost Boys.
Oh, sweet. Never seen it.
Yeah, I hear good things from it. I also have never seen it. So far, this idea
It's
of...
always like a classic movie. People are always going on about it.
Yes, that's true. So, your movie is The Lost Boys.
Okay.
My movie.
Your movie, should you choose to accept it, I'm really battling between giving you a movie that's going to feel like it's torn your soul out of you.
Oh, no.
And one that's a bit cheesy but classic.
If I had to choose, Steve, I think I would choose the cheesy but classic one.
Oh, you don't want to
right?
get your soul torn out of you? Like
I
you
like...
you don't want to feel literally empty of life afterwards?
Steve, I've had enough life happen to me where I've had those moments that I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But I also understand retribution for making you watch Brain Alive or Dead Alive. And also whatever that other movie was last week.
I'll have you watch The Wicker Man, original one, 1973.
The original Wicker Man. Okay. I've never seen The Wicker Man.
I've heard that you should never watch the one with Nick Cage.
Never, really?
I heard that it's the worst movie on the planet. I kind of am curious myself, but The Wicker Man is one of the quintessential folk horror movies. The reason I said kind of cheesy, it's a 1973 movie, so it has a Christopher Lee in it, by the way, the guy who plays Sauron in the Lord of the Rings, the white-haired guy,
yeah, of course,
but much younger, obviously, and
okay,
yeah, so it's there's plenty of things to laugh at. I'll put it that way.
Okay,
but
I don't know anything about The Wicker Man, so the fact that you're like, you're gonna laugh a little bit is interesting.
Well, just because he wear the costumes, there's a whole thing. You'll see. We'll talk about it later.
The Wicker Man. Okay.
Right.
Well,
and it's on Prime.
It's on Prime. I don't know where yours is. I didn't look that up. Letterboxd is really bad at updating whether or not you can stream for free. It just goes by, or you can buy it here, you can rent it here. Like, that's it. They don't have updated streaming. And I get that changes sometimes month to month, but
yeah. Well, we'll figure it out. Okay.
Anyway, cool.
We are way over time.
Yes, we are. It's hilarious and it's fun. Okay.
I'll chat to you later, dude.
All right, man.
Bye.
All right, listeners. That's a wrap for another episode of Horrors Yet Unseen. Thanks for joining us.
And we'd love for you to become part of the conversation. Just drop us a voicemail at 1-216-202-5495 or email us at horrorsyetonunseen@gmail.com. And keep up with the latest by following us on Instagram. That handle is @horrorsyetonunseenpod. We'd also appreciate it if you like and review our show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Your support means a lot to us. See you next time.